I suppose I have had the same problems with once and maybe again President Donald J. Trump that are shared by many. It wasn't obvious to me at all that his first shot at the leadership of the world's most powerful country was anything other than a brilliant and unorthodox marketing scheme, albeit one that succeeded beyond the wildest of imaginings.
Congratulations, Mr. President.
I knew him only at that point as a self-promoting, bombastic, quintessentially American-type celebrity, reminiscent in my imagination of Colonel Tom Parker, the morally ambivalent, although indubitably successful promoter of Elvis Presley. However, Trump made a name for himself in the difficult business of construction, where, particularly in cities such as New York and Chicago, all manner of corruption and trouble had to be managed. A challenging matter to keep the projects going on time and within budget. Anyone who's ever undertaken a renovation of any magnitude knows how badly such things can spiral out of control without diligent devotion of time and attention. He managed, while doing so, to make himself quite famous, another feat that is by no means as simple as those who have never done it might imagine.
Somebody who was at the Michael Jackson concert in New York said when you were seated, you got the loudest applause. People stood up and roared and cheered.
So maybe there was something to him on the diligence, attention, and negotiation front that belied his mere success as a celebrity. After that, of course, he was co-producer and host of the reality shows The Apprentice and The Celebrity Apprentice. These were highly successful, and for a long time, particularly by legacy media TV standards, running more than a decade from 2004 to 2015. He's also the author of 19 books, collaborating with various ghostwriters, and has been involved in a true variety of other business enterprises. This history of entrepreneurial activity, combined with his successful bids for attention, speaks to two of President Trump's cardinal personality features. He is extremely extroverted. That is, both assertive and enthusiastic, although more particularly the former rather than the latter. And also at least relatively high in trait openness, which is the single best predictor of entrepreneurial/creative activity and prowess after general intelligence. This makes him high in the personality meta trait of plasticity, which is characterized primarily by the capacity to change, grow, and transform. Something quite evident in the case of Trump, who is a very dynamic individual indeed, particularly given his age. Many people have been set in concrete with regard to their essential being by the time they're 30, not Trump. He reinvents himself constantly and with a high degree of continual success. That can happen by chance once, perhaps twice, but if it is sustained across many decades, there is something substantive and real at work. I also followed the Donald with great amusement on Twitter during his presidential run and afterward when he was in office, before he was turfed so scandalously by the progressive good thinkers who infested the platform, and who must be commended on their arrogance, presumption, and sheer gall. The man has a devastating and underappreciated, at least by the legacy leaders of opinion, sense of humor, although it is also somewhat ruthless. I own a very comical book, The Collected Poems of Donald J. Trump, available for purchase at the Daily Wire website, by the way, which compiles his most memorable tweets and declarations from 2009 to 2019 into beautiful library edition hardback form. It is a ridiculously funny tome. I believe that deeper consideration of this proclivity for the viciously funny is also useful in shedding more general light on Trump's admittedly complex personality. First, we should fairly note that dictatorial types, a category which his enemies insist he falls into, are generally not known for their sense of humor. People were imprisoned in the Stalinist Soviet Union for being the first to stop applauding after a speech by the great leader. Criticism was absolutely out of the question, and certainly not forthcoming from the top. I've also never encountered a compendium of the witty and amusing things said by Adolf Hitler or Fidel Castro or Chairman Mao. Trump does have a surprisingly thin skin in some settings, but he can take a joke as well as tell one. He was roasted on Comedy Central in 2011, bandied back and forth self-deprecatingly several times with David Letterman. He even made a joke about getting wood during his presidential debate with Joe Biden.
And you know, we knock on wood wherever we may have wood, that I'm in very good health. I just won.
I don't think he could help himself. And I truly like that. He's rough in his jokes, but no more, say, than Bill Burr.
You can't hit women. You can't. You honestly cannot. You ever see how they fall? They fall like toddlers, you know?
And is it not the case that a certain degree of harshness is necessary for serious comedy? Understanding and appreciating this helps us in comprehending one of Trump's more remarkable features, his serious attractiveness to the working class. This is something particularly made evident in his ability to easily banter with soldiers and policemen, a rare trait among politicians, often made nervous by the necessity of interacting with real people with dangerous and difficult jobs. Let us not forget, as well, that the humor characteristic of working class men and women also tends toward the rough. More deeply, this capacity to relate, the very ability that is so often derided as an appeal to a hypothetically dangerous populism, speaks to me of the paradoxical presence in Trump's character of a substantive degree of agreeableness, the personality trait most associated with empathy for other people, and one that seriously mitigates against the more pathological elements of the narcissism that can be associated with extreme extroversion.